happening. It's going to happen one way or the other. It depends on how fast the crisis happens. A crisis would accelerate it, or a crisis may make us all revert to, I don't know, computer money or gold, or who knows what we'll try. Well, the U.S. is having, as I told you last time, the next time the world has a problem, it's going to be the worst in my lifetime. Here it is. It is the worst in my lifetime. The reason I said it was because there was so much debt built up in the world. As you know, in 2008, we had a big problem because of too much debt. Well, since then, the debt everywhere has skyrocketed, even in China. The debt has built up. So the problems were ripe and ready to come. The U.S. market was having a blow-off, a bit of a bubble, if nothing else. It had been going up for 10 years, which was the longest in recorded history in the United States. So the world was ready. It was overdue. And here we are. There would have been some reason. Some places were already slowing down, as you know. And then along came the bubble, and now we have the excuse. We always have an excuse. Markets are different from economies. We're going to have economies getting worse nearly everywhere for a while. Markets are different. As you know, nearly every government in the world has started printing staggering amounts of money and spending staggering amounts of money, like the likes of which have never been seen in recorded history. America's debt is now higher than in the Second World War. You can believe that. America was already the largest debtor nation in the world, and then along came this, and America's added trillions. That's trillions with a T, trillions amount of debt, and printed trillions more. Mr. Keynes himself, if you read what he says yes, when times are good, you build up a lot of reserves, and then when you need them, you spend them. Mr. Keynes would not approve of what's been going on anywhere because nobody built up reserves. Even China has a lot of debt now. Mr. Keynes, back when at the end of before, he said, wait a minute, this is not what I meant. What I meant that everybody build up staggering amounts of debt and just keep spending and keep spending. So, yeah, Mr. Keynes said in bad times, you spend your reserves. He did not say spend your grandchildren's reserves. So anything that I am buying, and I have bought a couple of things, I'm buying, Martin, because they're so beaten down that no matter what happens, they're not going to, I don't think they're going to go down much more. I'm going to give you an example that I'm not buying. Venezuela, for instance. I cannot buy Venezuela because I'm an American, and it's sanctions, so Americans cannot buy it. But someone who is able to buy Venezuela could probably buy Venezuela now, because no matter how bad things get, Venezuela is not going to go down very much, and it may, if any, and it may start reviving. So there are things like that. Now, again, I'm not buying Venezuela. I'd like to, but I cannot. But I'm trying to find things like that, stocks, companies that are in that kind of situation, and I have bought a couple of those recently. A lot of people go out and buy X. It's the damnedest thing I've ever seen. They know nothing about it, nothing at all, but they go and buy it, which is not good.
Because you're a guru, sir.
Well, okay, but that in other people, but it's insane. It's a terrible way for investors to invest. Everybody wants a hot tip, but hot tips will bankrupt you. This has happened throughout history. Politicians love to blame foreigners when there are problems. You pick any country in history, it's very easy for politicians to blame foreigners. They have different languages, different skin, different hair, different food. Martin, I cannot tell you how many times I've heard people say, and they smell bad, and their food smells bad. The food smells bad. So politicians love to stir it up. And it's happening again. Is it sane? Is it rational? No, of course not. America and China should be bringing prosperity to the whole world together. but it's very, very easy to stir up animosity, and that's what they're doing. They're not going to sit around and say, oh, all you other Americans are horrible people. It's the foreigners that are the horrible people. And it often leads to worse, as you well know. Trade wars, shooting wars, it never has been a good thing in the end. But it's happening now as we both sit here and watch it.